Lads.
So, at a wet and windy Bramall Lane, we welcomed Manchester City. The Blades buoyed by a good performance against Liverpool, looking to face a team who have never beaten in the league. Ourselves at the bottom of the league with 1 point, but as I say, a good performance at Liverpool to hopefully build on. More changes to the starting lineup. We welcome back Lowe after his concussion, fully recovered. And Lord Lundstrom, the fantasy football king, Judas, was relegated to the bench as the Blades prepared for life without him potentially from January. Man City themselves without Aguero, Fernandinho and Jesus, but they had De Bruyne back, best midfielder in the league, and Laporte, who we know from very well from Besic clashing into him at Bramall Lane last year, another highlight of the season. There was a chance for City after just 7 minutes, and basically they were all over us for this half. Several shots at Rames. He did well with them all, but actually, really, they were straight at him. I was probably expecting to do well, but with the blustery conditions, fair enough. We hardly had any chances to our name. And on 27 minutes, they got their goal. Walker from 25 yards out. Of course, had to be Walker returning to the lane with a drilled shot into the corner. First actual shot of theirs into a corner, which Rames slightly got fingers to, but couldn't quite get a full glove to it. And we were down. For ourselves, a couple of crosses from Lowe didn't really trouble the keeper or the defence. McBurney winning every header, but just not seemingly finding his strike partner yet again. 34 minutes, Bash with our best chance, a header from a corner just wide. And we actually played better the last 5 minutes. The sun came out, we played well, started to rescore a bit of our form, but for 40 minutes, who were we? We're in absolute shambles. That performance against Liverpool was a distant memory. We couldn't get hold of the ball. We had less than 30% possession. When we did get hold of the ball, we wasted it. It was men against boys. We didn't seem to be able to make the right decisions. We didn't seem to be able to take risks either. We've lost our swagger from last year, where one-touch passes, taking risks, likes of Ender, nutmegging players. Now the players get the ball, they look terrified. They don't seem to know what to do, which is a big worry. Though our style of play, the midfield seemed to be crowded out. Berger didn't have a chance to run at their players. Midfield was really bypassed. The ball tended to go down the right or a long ball. Again, not sure why we're doing long ball. And nothing really came of that. And I actually think we were a bit predictable. And I don't know whether City had done their homework and realised how we played and sort of cancelled us out, or whether it was just the fact that it was a general poor performance overall. But last 5 minutes of the first half looked a bit more positive. Only 1 goal down as well at this point, so there was reason to be hopeful we could get something from the second half.
The second half, what a completely frustrating affair. So frustrated. You've got over £40 million of strikers up front and absolutely zero service. Okay, so we kept possession. So what? The amount of times we got into the last third and passed back, passed amongst ourselves, didn't get a cross in. The only time we got an early cross in looked like our best opportunity to score. Manchester City will never ever have an easier day at the back. McBurney, people will slate McBurney. You cannot slate Ollie McBurney when nobody gives him the ball. Not a single header to win. It was absolutely terrible. I'm sorry, the substitutions were wrong. It's not often I'll say Chris Wilder has got it wrong. Lundstrom come on and just strolled about. He strolled about and just did not look interested. All right, he had a shot that went way over the bar. That was it. Something has got to change. I don't agree with McGoldrick coming on. Burke had to come on if they were going to play that way for pacing behind. If you're going to put McGoldrick and McBurney up top with Brewster running on, you have to get the ball forward at pace and win those area battles. Manchester City were comfortable at 1-0. 1-0 did never look an unstable lead whatsoever. That, I'm afraid, Blades, is very, very disappointing. Very, very, very frustrating. Because the Manchester City side, I have to say, were there for the taking. We need to go again next week and sort something out fast And remember, if you do not shoot, you do not score, and strikers need service.
What to say? Fairly disappointing overall performance. Never really laid a glove on City. Ederson had a fairly easy day. City were in second gear for the majority of the match. When we did go through the gears and stepped it up, we still never really looked like scoring. One or two players played well. I think Sanderberger just keeps getting better and better, industrious, powerful, getting forward, always looks positive. Aaron Ramsdale, I'd say the same. Each game he's got better, he's got more confident, and he'll continue to gain confidence. At the moment, he's certainly getting plenty of practice. Max Lowe seemed to understand the way that we play, and he played all right. Baldock, always looking like the Baldock that we know he is. He's just so consistent. Again, though, with him, final ball, doesn't get enough assists. We've got Chelsea next. No team have we beaten more in the Premier League than Chelsea. I think our last win was against Chelsea, so there you go. That's another positive. Look forward to that. Quite a few negatives, across the pitch. I'm really worried. We don't look like scoring. It seems like the best we can hope for is a 0-0 at the moment, and maybe get a penalty. I'm really concerned about where the goals are coming from. Rhian Brewster's going to be fine. I've absolutely no danger at all that when he understands the way we play, he's going to be like Sanderberger. He's going to get to understand the Chris Wilder ball philosophy. But realistically, today he did look like a boy, and he against men, he didn't fancy it in the air against Laporte on a few occasions, and that was a shame to see, because I think once he understands how we play, he's clearly a finisher and he'll do fine. But could have thrown Billy Sharp in today, would have been any different.
So where do we go from here? Well, next up is Chelsea away, and I think we have a really good chance of getting at least a point, maybe 3 against Chelsea. It's a big ask, but I think what we need to do is trust our system and play our system that we've been using for the last couple years. And what that means is that we need to have both center backs overlapping. I think Nick said it really well in his video yesterday about Basham has been doing that. You saw it in the second half, but Stevens is just sitting back. He's focusing on being a defender because he's not a natural defender. So instead, you need to focus on doing the thing that you're good at. Focus on overlapping, focus on going down that left side, and I think it'll work. And the reason why is because Ramsdale showed us today that we can trust him in goal. We can trust him to stop shots. And Egan has always been reliable as getting a last-ditch tackle or, getting a header on a cross that's coming in. We can trust the two of them to keep us in a close game. And if we can operate both sides overlapping, I think we have a really good chance. A couple personnel changes that I think we also need to make for Chelsea. One, Ampadu's not going to be able to play against his parent club, so Norwood is going to have to come in the side. I also think that while I love Osborne's effort, he's always given 110% out there. I think we need to take him off and put Lundstrom on. There's contract issues, whether he's going to go in January, try to run down his contract to the end of the year and move on a free. Put those aside. He's with the team. If Wilder trusts him, we need to trust him, and he's got to be in that team because he operates in our system very effectively with the late arrival into the box, always a threat from any cross. So we need to have him back out there. And I think we need to take Brewster off at the front too. At least against Chelsea, it's got to be Burke and McBurney, in my opinion. Burke because of his speed and his pace. McBurney because we're going to probably end up reverting to lumping the ball forward and trusting that he can head it to one of our teammates. And Burke has the best chance of being effective in that pair. Brewster, I think he could come on late and be a threat. I think once we play, our later games in the season against, West Ham, West Brom are up next after Chelsea. We need to have Brewster up there because he's got to build some confidence and trust with everybody. But against Chelsea, in a game that I think we have a shot at getting at least a point, we need to put Burke up front. So hopefully some of these changes can happen. Hopefully Chris Wilder can get the guys back to that positive mentality we had against Liverpool. And hopefully we get a result against Chelsea.
Look at that ping from Norwood. Makes other teams look no good. Yeah. We've got a team full of leaders. Alan Hill, Chris Wilder taught us. Right. Yeah, there was us on the tour bus. Yeah. Look how many goals Billy scored us. It's beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. We are the boys from Shore.